Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Friends, there have been some students and parents who are requesting to keep some of the content in English language as well. So this is my first video in those series. So what I'm planning is that few of my videos I will also upload in English channel so that majority of the students can take benefit of this. All right. Now friends, what I am doing in this video is that I have done an analysis of your CA Inter tax paper of the last 6 attempts from May 2024 to January 2026. The analysis is of both of your parts, whether it is income tax, whether it is GST, whether it is descriptive or whether it is MCQ. So I have done the topics which are covered, the marks, the question numbers, etc. etc. So before we go into the analysis, I have a few special observations which would be very important for you all. Friends, the very first observation is that the ICAI has started asking question number 1 of your income tax now in paragraph form as well. So from the last 6 attempts, 3 times the question was in T form. Now what happens in T form is they give you a P&L account, they give you receipts and payment account, expenses, incomes are given, and accordingly additional information, and you have to solve the sum. But in September 24, September 25 and January 26, the sum was asked, the question number 1, in paragraph form. Now what happens in paragraph form? They give you in the first paragraph the net profit of the assessee was this much. The followings are the debits and the credits, and then they give you all the information. Now friends, as far as your knowledge is concerned, knowledge of income tax is concerned, obviously whether the question is asking T form or paragraph form, you don't need some extra knowledge. You don't need some separate knowledge. The same concepts which you have studied in salary, house, property, business, capital gain, others, so chapter 6 a set of same things you have to use. But the problem is that students do not have so much practice of paragraph form questions. Friends, by now this time you must have also known that I have done very good analysis of your module also. Your entire module analysis I have done. You must have received this PDF. Now, today, when I was checking your analysis of your total income questions in your module also, there is one question in your test your knowledge which is in paragraph form, which is related to PGPP. There are few questions also, but those questions are related to salaries or some other chapters. But if you see PGPP, the question 1 which they generally ask, only one question was in paragraph form. So what happens is, in paragraph form, there is nothing new. There is not a separate knowledge which you require. You need the same set of skills. But the problem is students are not very well versed by solving sums in paragraph form. So now what solution is possible in this? So what I have planned is that I am going to start a series of total income lectures, and in those total income lectures I will teach you some new questions. Obviously knowledge is same, but some new questions in which everything would be in paragraph form. And I am not planning master question. I am planning proper questions which can be asked as 15 marks questions in your exams only. All right, so that series I will be starting in a day or two with you all. Friends, the second analysis is that now students cannot leave any chapter in option. So your professors must have already told you this, because you know what happens when exams are very near. This is a very favorite question of all the students. Sir, is it possible that I can leave TDS in option, TCS in option? Sir, can I leave salary in option? So the answer is absolutely no. Friends, if you see your January 26 paper, the first question, mainly PGPP, was in paragraph form. Second, residential status, TDS, TCS. Then total income, but mainly salary. Then question 3 was about clubbing, then set off, and then returns. If you see, there was no capital gains. But you know what? If you see your MCQs, capital gains was there in MCQs. Other source was there in MCQs. Then residential status and identifying the head of income, TDS, was there in MCQs. So friends, those questions which are not covered in descriptive, those chapters which are not covered in descriptive, they are ensuring that some MCQ question is asked on that, or vice versa. So friends, now you cannot leave any chapter in option. You have to study everything. The third observation is they have also started asking new topics. When I say new topics, means those topics which are not very regularly asked. I can give you an example of residential status of HUF or a total income of HUF. Now, I have been teaching income tax from last 16 years now. HUF calculations have been asked, but not very regularly. But now what they have done is from the last 6 attempts, they have asked HUF calculation 3 times. So once it was in September 24, then it was in Jan 26, and in MCQ, it was also asked in your September 25 paper. So friends, now they have also started asking questions which are generally not asked in your exams. So now you have to take care of those small points also. So, generally what happens is everyone has this ABC analysis, and which is right, which is correct. I am not saying that ABC analysis is something which is bad. It is good only. But now what they have done is generally what we think that, institute might not ask this question, institute might not ask these questions. So that is now not the case. They're asking questions on other small points also, which they might have not asked in the past. The next observation is better there is no fixed paper pattern. So this has been the case with ICAI always, that they are not asking questions in a fixed paper pattern. Yes, except in 1 or 2 questions. Now say for example in income tax, your question number 4B has been generally from returns only. Your question 4A has generally been from set off and carry forward of loss only. But you cannot just rectify it because they are changing that. So for example, in question 3, sometimes it is capital gains, sometimes it is EFOS, sometimes salary, sometimes clubbing. So it is always a mixed and match. Now, if you see your GST also, except for the first question, you cannot say there is a fixed trend. There is nothing like fixed. Also, I would like to draw your attention to this point that in GST, there are various questions. Like say for example, they are asking you a question on value of supply, but you also need knowledge of exemption over there. Supposingly they are asking you compute GST payable, but this exemption chapter is required everywhere. So almost in every question they are putting this exemption chapter. There are many places where you need knowledge of exemption. Acha, in GST in question number 7 and question number 8 generally has been theory. But as I say again and again, you just don't have to blindly follow this or blindly ratify this and go in the exams, because institute has not promised this paper pattern. They can always change it, but analysis will always help us, right? So we can at least plant few things in our mind that okay, fine, this type of questions are asked. I have to prepare myself for theory. I also have to prepare myself for sums, etc., etc. Then friends, there is one analysis that TDS TCS has become very favorite of ICAI now. So in the entire question, in your entire paper, whether it is descriptive or whether it is your MCQs, TDS has always been there. So I was observing this MCQ part. There is one independent MCQ, TDS, TCS, TCS, TCS. So if you see the past analysis, I am not saying it will always be the same again in May 26, but obviously analysis will help us, right? So TDS has been very favorite as far as their MCQs are concerned. Okay, and obviously in descriptive also TDS is always asked. So TDS TCS has been very important. So that is a chapter which needs a lot of memorizing, but you have to do it. You cannot, as I said, you cannot leave anything in option, right? So with this, my friends, what you can do is I have already uploaded this particular PDF in our Telegram channel of JB Learnings. JB Learnings Pratik Bhatt is the Telegram channel name. And now what I'm going to do is in the coming days, I'm going to start with this total income lectures, where it will be in paragraph form, and we will practice few sums. At least I'm planning to practice at least 8 to 9 sums with you all, which are there in paragraph form. So you must have already studied your income tax. So once you have studied with your income tax, you have done a lot of sums in T form. So now let us do few sums in paragraph form as well. All right. Now I'll try to upload lectures in English language as well. I'm going to try my level best. All right. So please like, share, and subscribe this channel. So you are going to get benefit in English language and also in Hindi English mixed language in this same channel. All right. So no if, no but, only but. All the best. Bye bye. Thank you very much.